Hello, everybody. Super happy to be there with you for the webinar about GenAI in a Box. I'm today with you with Vaclav, my colleague, and we'll talk about today about GenAI in a Box, our latest offering about Eviden AI platform. So, are you seeing the slides? Yeah, I think now everybody is seeing the slides. And I will let my colleague, Vaclav Konsky, introduce that webinar. Thank you.
Yeah, so hello everybody. First of all, sorry for the delay. And before we jump into the topic, I would like to introduce myself and my colleague David. So I would start with myself. So I'm in AI and machine learning for almost 10 years. I'm not a platform guy. My background is really in AI and machine learning world. And my role is AI architect, which means that I'm responsible for designing solutions to match business problems, how the business problems can be solved using data and AI. So, David, few words about yourself.
Yeah. So I'm working in data space since more than 10 years. And more recently, I'm totally focused to, that hot topic about sovereign AI. And I'm today leading now that the product called GenAI in a Box, that is an appliance. We'll talk about that in the next minutes. And I'm also managing the French market for our entity.
Yeah, so first, before we jump to the main topic of this webinar, I would like to introduce our team. So I originally come from DataSentics, a Czech startup that was acquired by the group approximately 3 years ago. And now we are part of Enterprise AI, which is a team containing more than 250 AI experts. And we have delivered more than 300 AI projects within the past 9 years. Our main goal as Enterprise AI is to help our customers to build AI platforms, to develop data and AI-driven use cases that has a real impact on their business. And how we do that is that we focus on building end-to-end use cases. Initially, we did that in cloud, which means using AWS, Azure, GCP, using Databricks as the data platform for AI and machine learning, and then building use cases on top. But there was no solid alternative when you want to move from cloud to on-premise. So that's why we started these discussions about developing a counterpart, on-premise counterpart that will be capable of doing the same thing. And that's how we introduced Bullsequana AI Platform. We are not the only one team focusing on AI in our company. We also have a colleague team focusing on hardware, AI hardware. So that's what gives us this unique opportunity to really deliver end-to-end solutions, because we have a hardware team developing AI hardware. We have a software team developing the AI platforms for running AI solutions. And we have also the domain expertise that is capable of leveraging AI and data to really deliver the business value. So that's all for the general introduction. As you've probably seen in the intro video, I was mentioning how AI can be expensive, how AI can be complex, that there might be some difficulties in implementing AI on-premise. So those are the questions that today we would like to answer to you. And by a question, what does it mean to implement AI on-premise? What are the components needed for that? I will hand over to David, and he will take you through that.
Yes, thank you, Vaclav, for that introduction. And for sure, the topic about, the cost efficiency, about that sovereign approach is classical question coming from everybody. And to be clear, there is not a black or white answer to that question. It's really depending on a lot of parameters. One of that could be, for sure, the use case that we will push on that platform. and it will be also explored in that second part with Vaclav. And about the platform, one of the main difficulties of everybody is about the skills you need for managing the platform. And so the first point for us is to make as easy as possible that platform management, and we will not be capable to have the same experience that you could have on cloud, public cloud, with a fully managed platform. But we will now it's about to be close to that. So we are not so far to the experience proposed by cloud provider, and we can propose that at an affordable cost. So maybe before talking too much about the details, we can talk a bit about how we are working. So in second part, we will talk about use case, because all of our approach are linked to the use case and business value. But for sure, that use case requires a platform to be run, and we'll be focused in that first part about platform and hardware capabilities and how to make accessible that capabilities for you. So this is exactly the scope of GenAI Box. So GenAI Box is an appliance. So what is an appliance? It's classically, hardware PCs we are putting together with software PCs, and there we have in reality 3 PCs. One is for sure the GPUs, so the servers that will make possible the execution of AI workloads. On top of that, we will find the software platform, and we have 2 types of platforms. So it's a basic platform for enabling you to embrace GenAI use cases, and we have a more advanced platform for helping you to go on more advanced capabilities like fine-tuning for specializing some models with your data. And for sure, everything is also related to the models. And, when we are talking about GenAI, it's deeply related to the LLMs. And that every month we are hearing about the latest release of the most famous models. So could be Mistral models, could be also, DeepSeek. At the beginning of this year, a lot of buzz around DeepSeek. And also Llama, for example. So we are pushing any open source models. So the most famous one on our platform. And we have also a big partnership with Mistral for providing you some commercial models. So that models are not available freely through open source. You need a license for that, but you could access to that as an option in GenAI Box, and so having some exclusive models going from Mistral. So the idea of GenAI Box is putting that all together and helping you to have a kind of plug-and-play approach for enabling that GenAI journey in your company. If we are taking from the left, the kind of deep dive, the first piece is hardware. And the extra small, I will not talk about that too much, because it's for special type of use case linked to physical AI edge computing. We'll be more focused about enterprise needs. So it will be 3 t-shirt size we have defined internally. So it's small t-shirt size is based on our AI 200 machine. It's a 4 GPU machine, and we are proposing 4 L40S as an entry hardware for enabling GenAI. We have to be careful, because with that type of GPU, you will not be capable to run everything. And so it's really interesting, because that machine is really cheap, but you will only be capable to infer some small LLMs. So that means you won't be capable to run all the potential use cases. But in terms of cost efficiency, it's something really accessible. And for more advanced clients that want to enable all possible use case. We have that median machine based this time on 4H100. It's the classical GPU around today for running anything around GenAI. And thanks to the second server, that is the AI 620, you can also host until 8 GPU. So as it is PCI GPU, you can scale your GPU from 4, for example, and begin by record that 4 GPU machine and scale until 8 without just by adding some new PCI card in your machine and your setup. And for the clients that are more mature, needs to be at scale immediately. We have another server that is the AI 640. Here it's not PCI GPU cards, is some SXM form factor. So the GPU are directly on the motherboard and are totally linked together through NVLink. So you can see that 8 GPU almost like that only one, and you have some acceleration between the GPUs. So it's really interesting. That will enable you to infer at scale large modules and also provide some good capabilities for doing fine-tuning. For sure, that machine has some, how can I say, it's for building your journey. And after that, to scale up, it's easy for you. You can multiply that type of servers, and you will have kind of scale out scalability on your capabilities. So there we have defined that templated servers that could help for us to provide you some stock on that machine. And what we are doing after is to put at the factory. We have a big factory in France, in Angers, and when the machine is ready in the staging, we are doing the installation of the software on top. Before talking too much about the platform, software platform, it's really important to say something about the models. As shared before, be careful. The model selection is really crucial for succeeding in your use cases. So it's, the perfect model is a mirage. So you have to do some trade-off between accuracy. So by accuracy, I mean to be performant on features, functional features. For example, in the prompt, have relevant answer on your prompt. But more accurate you will be, certainly more costly you will be, and the latency will be also impacted. You know that the bigger LLMs will give you higher latency. And so that could also impact for real-time reason. So for example, if you are waiting too much time for having the prompt answer, could be an issue about user experience. So you have to do trade-off on that, and you will not execute for all your use cases only one LLM. Certainly you will have to choose the perfect fit model for your use case, and the platform after is there for helping you to do that model management, helping you to deploy on your GPUs the required model for executing that use case at that time. And after that, you need to make some free space for executing other modules in the other time slots. And the platform is there for helping you to schedule that, to monitor that, and to bring value on. So it's really important to have in mind that the one-size-fits-all approach about the model is something that is a mistake. So you have to avoid that. You have to consider that you will have to manage several models, and that means also to check your capabilities on your GPUs for hosting that several models, or being capable to be very agile in the model deployments. Okay, so now about the software platform. So Core AI Platform is the basic offering for helping you to embrace that GenAI journey. So It's about influencing your LLMs. So you can find behind that some serving engine, and we are optimizing that serving engine thanks to our benchmark team. And this is an interest to have, that software and hardware team working together, closely together. And we are proposing on top of that also that important features of model management. So you will be capable to upload any models in a registry. In that registry, you will be capable to make visible that models to your teams. And after that, putting in production some of that models for enabling the use case on top. And after that, the next step in GenAI journey is the RAG. So you know that the approach that make possible to adapt the answer of the LLMs without doing fine-tuning. So you will be capable to provide to the LLM as a context some chunk of data coming from your knowledge database, also coming from your IT systems. And the LLM, thanks to that context, will be capable to provide relevant answers to the user, taking into account that data coming from your company. So it's really interesting for you, and you can deploy that, use that without advanced data scientists, because you will not have to do fine-tuning, you will not have to do trainings. It is only about inferencing, it's only about that, and managing, besides that, the RAG part. And RAG part is about knowledge database. So how to put in a vector database, for example, some knowledge coming from your company. And for the clients that are more mature, for sure, you will want to make possible that specialization of models, and that could provide also some efficiency about, because generally we are doing fine-tunings on small models and improve that small models on some specific features. So it's really interesting because that will provide some energy efficiency, but also latency efficiency to your use case. But for doing that means to manage data, and so creating some data sets, managing that data set, analyzing also the bias in that data set. So it's data scientist work, and we are providing all the stuff around to enable that data science works. And so data management is part of the extended pieces we can bring. And for sure, on top of that, we are providing the full MLOps lifecycle, enabling the fine-tuning and the full coverage of AI lifecycle. So we are building all that platform thanks to open source. The idea on our side is not to reinvent the wheel. It's to take the best of breeds of open source available on the market. We are doing a lot of market studies, in technology watch on that technologies. And after that, we are integrating that together. We are also providing some exclusive UI for making your experience better, because open source is not perfect now. But thanks to that open source, you will be capable to have interoperability. You will also have kind of white box approach and less vendor looking behind that platform. So what we want to enable for you is not to be locked with us. It's just we want to avoid you to do it yourself approach, and you will have the pain to maintain that open source in the latest version. That's this kind of thing. So we do that for you. And the day you will want to stop our collaboration, you will be capable to continue without us. And we provide you so that distribution of open source, some specific elements we will provide on top, and the automation. It's the really important part, because in the beginning I was sharing that one of the main interests in public cloud is automation. You can consume everything as a service, and we want to be as close as possible of that experience. And so we are working a lot on infrastructure as code, and we are providing that platform that is deployable in minutes. So we are providing you everything in terms of Terraform script, in terms of Ansible script, and everything related to that. And for sure, we are also really be careful to stay really agnostic from the providers. I shared before, the model trends are evolving so fast, so it's really complex to say you what would be the best model tomorrow. So we want to keep that platform as agnostic as possible for model provider, but also about GPU providers. So today, NVIDIA for sure is the unbeatable leader on that market. But in 2 years, 3 years, we don't know. So it's really important to keep some elements in the platform, having some abstraction layers in the platform to avoid to be too much linked to that providers. Okay, and after having built that distribution, and we are doing frequent updates on the distribution, we are also for sure providing some enterprise-grade support, and you will be capable to call us, to raise ticket to us, and we will help you to troubleshoot any issue about the platform. And this is really deep expertise. When you are dealing with 20 open sources linked together, it could be a nightmare to troubleshoot that. And so we are there for helping you in that GenAI journey. Here it's kind of high-level architecture. So we have the platform more in orange. It's kind of big backend services. Any strong features are exposed through APIs, and that APIs will be really stable in the duration. Also, any development you will do on top of that, especially the AI use cases, will be totally decoupled from the technology choice we have achieved in the platform. And you can find also that the first client of the platform is our web portal. In that web portal, you will find a lot of features related to the administration for making your life easier. So it's about platform management, model management, knowledge database management, and user management. But we're also providing, that classical horizontal use case that is the chatbot, enabling your users to do some prompt and also to do some RAG, so prompt, but relying on some vector database, managed database. But this is the beginning of the journey, and after that, for sure, you will have you will develop some AI use cases, and the platform will be more and more consumers through the APIs. So it's more the left part of that schema, and we are also securing the overall platform through full SSO on each building blocks. We are also trying to protect the prompt through a prompt guardrail feature, and any secret and environment variables are stored in the key vault. Okay, so I think now it's pretty much clear for you what we are doing. Here it's a core AI platform, so it's only the part providing inferencing and RAG, and for sure we are extending also the platform through data management features and fine-tuning MLOps features. Here it's the screenshot of the landing page after having looking in the platform. You can see the available applications. So there some components we are providing also in the Pro AI version for hosting data and doing some orchestration workflow and these kind of things. And on the bottom, you can see the start a new chat, that is a chatbot. And on the left menu, you can see chat and RAG. And I will show you just after. So it's really classical, like you can find on ChatGPT. Here you can select one of the available models on the GPU. And just below, you can choose to activate or not an image database for enabling RAG on your prompts. Yeah, it's just an example. So it's really classical needs for that. It's for the end user, and you will find also a lot of other features. Like on the left, you can see the features about deploying some models. So the model could be deployed through your storage, but could be also deployed directly by selecting a model in your GIN phase, for example. And after that, once the models are available in the registry, you can deploy it on the GPU through the interface. So certainly it's now the last part of that platform presentation. Here it's okay. I talk a lot about software part, so it was the launch part on that slide. But there is also some other layers more close to the hardware, and we are providing that in the appliance. So you will find for sure firmware on top of the servers, on top of that OS, and there it's Ubuntu that is provided. And on top of that, we need the NVIDIA drivers to enable the GPUs on the Kubernetes clusters. And we are providing a single node Kubernetes clusters for running that Bullsequana AI stack on top. Okay, so it is really a plug and play approach. Everything is included in the appliance, and you have just to rack that in your data center and do some configuration. So, for example, SSO integration has to be achieved on site, but many of the things are prepared at the factory and pre-installed in the servers before being delivered to you. And now it's time for me to give the mic to Vaclav and to talk more about business value and the use case, because we are not building platform only for building platform. And we are doing that platform for enabling some use cases. And the most important part certainly is the next part.
Thank you, David. Yeah, so before I take you to the part explaining and showing use cases where it makes sense to consider some AI sovereign solutions, I would like to encourage you to ask questions in the chat. So feel free to ask questions. I can try to tackle them during the presentation or after. So please ask questions. So I've selected 6 areas where we have built use cases using sovereign AI. So there are basically 2 key measures why it makes sense to consider running AI solution on premise. First one is cost, which means is the workload big enough so it makes sense to have own solution running on premise? And the second one is security. So am I allowed to use the data, to send the data to cloud, to send the data to cloud provider LLM model APIs? So those are the key metrics, and I would like to elaborate a little bit on both for those 6 areas. So the first one would be call centers. The second one would be coding assistants, very trending topic when talking about AI. Then the third topic would be about optimizing workflows and AI intranets, which means optimizing internal processes. And the fourth group would be about service desks and service maintenance, which means level 1, level 2, level 3 support, and how to use AI for that. So let me start with contact centers. So obviously, contact centers, when talking about the size of data, manipulate with large data because it's data from the customer communication. So it can be emails, phone calls, chats, etc. So definitely, we are processing very, very big data. So the cost can matter. It's not only about generating emails or generating answers to customers. It's also about working with the customer itself, customer communication itself. So you can imagine a scenario of call center where you have to transcribe the audio to text. Then you have to somehow make the text more understandable, fixed errors in the text. So it's another LLM call. Then you have to classify the text. You have to find some entities in the text. So it's a lot of LLM calls, so a lot of data processing using AI. So cost definitely is one of the drivers here. But data security is at least has the same importance, because when talking about processing customer communication, there is a lot of sensitive information like names, IDs, phone numbers, and typically the anonymization is required to be able to process such data. But how to do the anonymization without GenAI? It's quite difficult. So if you move the solution on premise, you have the full control over the solution, and you can use LLMs for anonymization if needed. But you can use that directly for processing the data, because nothing is leaving your infrastructure, your environment. And the most typical applications at contact centers are, for example, quality assurance of the communication. So there is some call script. Also, there are some compliance requirements that the agent has to respect, and using LLMs, using AI helps you to automatically scan all the communication and identifies if there are any compliance violences, or if the agents are matching the call script. And it can save a lot of time of the quality assurance team or the team leaders. Then the second quite popular use case is something called AI trainer, which means to help the new agents to onboard, because there is a huge rotation typically on contact centers, huge fluctuation. So there is a lot of onboardings, and the onboarding typically takes from weeks to lower number of months. So you can use AI to simulate the discussions with the customers to onboard more quickly the agents, and you can provide them feedback generated by AI. Then quite standard topics like detecting of what's going on in the communication. Why are the customers complaining? What are the topics that keeps you busy on the phone? So using AI, you can detect the peaks. You can detect which topics are the most difficult to solve, and you can proactively avoid that. Then very helpful use case is detecting sales signals in the communication, because even if the customer is calling like to a service desk or with some request for information, they might mention that they have a product at competitors, or they might mention that they are considering buying this and that, and those are very helpful sales signals to increase your sales pipeline, and you are able to attract more and more customers. And then also very traditional use case, which was here even before the big GenAI boom, and that's customer satisfaction and churn analysis, which means identifying why the customer is not satisfied, and using that for retention campaigns. So again, you can analyze all the customers' data because you are using sovereign AI solution. Everything is in your infrastructure, everything running on premise. So you can deal with the customer data very smoothly. The second area is coding assistants. Probably all of you have heard about coding assistants, but the typical application is using coding assistant in cloud. It can be a very popular solution is GitHub Copilot, a very popular solution is Cursor, for example. But when looking at the costs and looking at the security, there are also some aspects why it makes sense to consider running that solution on premise. So when taking into account the cost, so if you have a lot of developers and you select the pricing per user, then you can get to quite significant costs, because if the license costs $20-$30, you can get to thousands of dollars every month just for the license itself, without any support, without any additional services. If you select the pay-as-you-go, which means that you pay for the tokens in, tokens out, it can get also quite tricky, because when talking about code, the volume of tokens, input tokens and output tokens, is significantly higher than when just chatting, because the code is typically longer than just a typical message that you want to ask the chatbot. So here the pay-as-you-go model also doesn't have to be the most efficient. So when talking about larger number of developers, larger volumes, it makes sense to consider that also from the cost perspective. But probably the more important here is the security, because the code developed by our developers is critical IP that you have in the company. It can be algorithms, solutions, any products that you are developing. Then you have to reconsider which parts of the code you want to share with the cloud provider, etc. And the applications of the coding assistants are quite straightforward. So it's autocomplete, it's generating documentation or generating code itself. But I personally like also vibe coding for fast prototyping, fast evaluation of ideas for solutions for products. Then the third area, also very popular thanks to the boom of GenAI, is how to automate internal processes, how to use AI to automate, to make things more efficient. So here it's more about the security than about cost, because typically we are not talking about processing of very large scale data, but it might be the case. But the more important here is the security, because if you are automizing internal workflows, you are typically using internal information that might be critical for you. You might be processing the data about your employees, which has to be compliant with GDPR, or it might require some anonymization. So again, if you are on premise, you are more safe in that. The typical applications for the workflow management are obviously document classification. So working with emails, I don't know, IDs, PDFs, contracts, and you have to find something in the document, or you have to classify the document itself. AI is the best tooling for that. It can be also automating the full workflows, like in a similar way, like robotic process automation. So it's not that novel. The novel is just deploying AI into the process. So now you can use RPA also to work with large unstructured documents, like for example contracts, like for example tickets. So another example of claims assistance, you can combine automation of processing photos of the incident, processing contracts for the insurance, combining that with email communication that you have with the customer about the incident, and you can automate this workflow into one process by let's say 3 AI agents. And you don't have to worry about working with personal data if you are on premise. Then a very popular use case, how to make internal processes and internal employees more efficient, is something we call AI intranet, which means like replacing the traditional, or not replacing, enhancing the traditional intranet by AI features. The most natural one is just chatbot working with your knowledge base, your internal guidelines, working instructions, which means the customer doesn't have to search for anything. They can just ask the chatbot, and the chatbot helps them to navigate where I can find which employee is responsible for that, where I can find how to proceed if my customer is asking for that, and things like that. And also connected to that is a request or a use case for building something our customers typically calls custom chat GPTs, which means having a chat GPT-like interface, chat GPT-like chatbot, so having some general knowledge that the internal employees can use, but having this secured, having this running in your platform, so you have the full control about the prompts, about the responses, and about how the model should react. And the last area where sovereign AI is very helpful is service desk or service maintenance in general, which means L1, L2, L3 support. When talking about cost, it's mainly driven by the L1, where you have a large number of tickets, huge documentations that you have to proceed, and a lot of space for automation, because a lot of tasks can be automated by using AI, because the requests, the issues are not that difficult for the AI to understand and to resolve. When talking about security, it's on the other hand more important for the expert support for level 3, because typically there the documentation is or does contain some critical IP. or the level 3 can operate on premise. For example, in public defense, it's quite typical that the infrastructure is running on premise, so it's not allowed to use cloud provider for LLM APIs. So for level 3, it's not that much about cost, because the number of requests is significantly lower than for level 1, but it's more about security, because the expert support works with more sensitive data knowledge bases, more sensitive information. And the typical use cases, as it goes from the left to the right, the left are the most L1, the right are the most L3 use cases. So it starts with the working with tickets itself. So creating ticket automatically, evaluating if the ticket is correctly filled, and it contains everything level 3 needs. Then continuing with generating the problem resolution, because you have the knowledge base, you have the ticket history, so you can pre-generate for the agents by AI the typical resolution. You can use that for detecting similar tickets, so they can compare the resolution from the past with the current ticket, and you can summarize what the previous ticket was about. And you can use that for identifying the diagnosis and predictive maintenance itself. So there are some patterns, there are some typical behavior of the incidents, and you can use AI for predicting that. And then the last but not least is really guiding the expert support during the repair. So it can be software repair, but it can be also hardware repair. So you can imagine a guy fixing a heat pump, let's say, and using AI guiding him step by step how he or she should proceed when repairing the hardware component. So that would be all about the service desk and service maintenance. And since this is the last topic I wanted to elaborate on, I thank you for your attention, and if there are any questions, feel free to ask them, and we can discuss right now. So thank you for your attention. Okay, so since there are no questions, so thank you again. And if you have any, feel free to reach out us offline. We would be happy to discuss. Bye-bye. Bye.